We are answering question 1 today. When will these things happen? And that means, when will the temple be destroyed? Okay. When will the temple be destroyed? So Jesus, remember, they asked the question and Jesus starts answering it right away. So now what we're looking for, if partial preterism, the timeline is correct, and the tribulation has already happened. If that's correct, then all the things that Jesus says when he's answering number 1 question, they will be things that already happened in the past. So as we are looking at these scriptures, we are looking to see if these indeed are things that happened in the past, okay? Partial or premillennialist, futurist say that all the things that Jesus says in response to this question, that those things have not happened yet. Okay, so this is how we're comparing and contrasting to see, what does the Bible say and how do we interpret it? Are these talking about things that have already happened or things that still are yet to happen? Jesus answered and said to them, "See to it that no one misleads you, for many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and they will mislead many people." Okay, so you've heard the futurists talk about this and say, that all of these false Christs are going to be coming up, and the main one, the Antichrist, that they say, this big boogeyman that they make a big deal about. That's really, we talked about this last week. It's only the Antichrist is only mentioned a couple of times in the scripture in John's letters. And he talks about these Antichrists have already come. He talks about like an Antichrist way of thinking, an Antichrist spirit. He never, the word Antichrist is never mentioned in any of the prophetic end times scriptures in the Bible ever. And so that's one of the things that I think has been so kind of misinterpreted, I think, by the premillennialists to like make this big deal of it. And I think it comes also from the movies, because it's a great, Antichrist. It's a great protagonist to have, or antagonist to have in your movies, in your novels, and so they've made a real big deal about it now. So you've got all these Christians that are terrified of the Antichrist, and they're running around trying to figure out who is the Antichrist. And it's a misreading, I believe anyway. It's a misreading of the scripture. Okay. So let's look at this. So what we're asking then is, was this happening back then when during the, right after Jesus was here, and then during the time before the Jerusalem was destroyed, right around before and around AD 70. And we find that actually it was, that there were all of these people rising up, claiming to be the Messiah, okay? So yes, right after the death of Jesus, many leaders arose, capturing the hearts of the Jewish people. It's hard for us to understand today, but you got to understand, during that time period, everybody was watching for the Messiah. Okay, so Jesus had come, and a lot of people thought that he was the Messiah, but then he died. Thousands and thousands of people watched him get crucified. Now, after he rose again, a little over 400 people saw him. So, but a lot of people did not see Jesus after he rose again. And then remember, the Pharisees put out this propaganda, this false rumor that the disciples had stolen the body of Jesus. So there were a lot of people, a lot of Jewish people during that time who believed that lie. They believed that propaganda that Jesus had not risen from the dead, but that the disciples had stolen his body. So you've got all these people saying, "Oh, well, we thought he was the Messiah, but he's not, I guess." And so they were still looking for this Messiah. So it was just a ripe opportunity for all these people to rise up and claim to be the Messiah. And that is exactly what happened. Okay, and then we have a quote from John Wesley. You know who that is, right? And he says, "And indeed, never did so many impostors appear in the world as a few years before the destruction of Jerusalem, undoubtedly because there was the time wherein the Jews in general expected the Messiah." They were so hungry for the Messiah. Charles Spurgeon, you might recognize that name. "A large number of impostors came forward before the destruction of Jerusalem, giving out that they were the anointed of God." So this indeed happened. This indeed happened, what Jesus prophesies here about the false Christ